Barcelona, Xavi. Of course, there was a lot of action in the January transfer window. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Adama Traore, Ferran Torres came a little earlier. Of course, a lot of action there for Barcelona, facing an Atletico Madrid where, Heath Pearce, we've been talking about them, and now we're not so sold on them anymore, and wondering whether really Cholo Simeone and Atleti should really just say goodbye at the end of the season. We were wondering about that. Well, guess what? Barcelona really exposed Atleti. And, this is an imperfect Barcelona. They're not exactly the complete deal Barcelona, but they win 4-2. Dani Alves had a drunk hat trick. That's a goal, an assist, and a sending off. But the timeless Dani Alves scores in that one as well. Adama Traore did his thing. As many assists as he got Wolves this season, I believe. But his direct crossing from the right made sure that Barcelona got their win. And that's a big win for Xavi. Barca go 4th now. 4th, Heath Pearce. Atleti go 5th. I think that's the biggest storylines there. And we'll talk about some other things involving the game. But Barcelona, by the way, have scored more headers in La Liga than anyone else, Heath Pearce. That's 9. What say you about the game?
I would have thought that Benzema alone would have scored more headers than anybody in the league,
right?
But I guess I was wrong.
Yeah.
Hey, Elemi, give me those attacking signings again.
Okay, Adama Traore.
Yeah.
Ferran Torres, that was earlier, of course. Dani Alves as well, that came in a little later as well. And Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
Okay, and you know who scored today? Dani Alves, Araujo, and Jordi Alba. 3 defenders got you 3 of your 4 goals.
Jordi Alba's goal, by the way.
Oh
my God,
what a banger. It was like slow motion watching it. Like when you see a clean strike like that, you just can't help but admire it. But yeah, 3 of the 4 goals outside of Gavira being scored by defenders, which I think is kind of funny considering that they brought in all these reinforcements, and every day we said, how is it that they can afford these guys? How are they paying salaries? How are they able to pay these wages? Well, you don't need them. You just need to get your goals from your defenders every time. And like you said, for the headers. But by the way, jokes aside, best, most complete first 45 minutes, if not the full game, but the first 45, unbelievable from Xavi's side, and just look newly motivated. And again, they haven't even integrated Traore fully into the side yet. Ferran Torres fully into the side. And they haven't even gotten Aubameyang, who I think, again, once he gets into the mix of this and gets comfortable, you could see the Aubameyang of 2 years past when he was scoring goals for fun at Arsenal.
Absolutely. And Des Norris has the table here, by the way, because that's really the biggest point here. Real Madrid, Sevilla, Real Betis, and Barcelona now 4th, which, they're undefeated in the league, Heath Pearce, everybody, since December 4th. Okay, so, there's been a lot of craziness going on around the club. This is a telenovela, definitely, on and off the pitch. But you have to give credit where credit is due. Xavi is building some kind of balance. This is a team that ultimately needs to make sure, because now they're in Europa, they want to get Champions League again, and right now they're in the Champions League spot at the expense of the defending champions. And this is now a worrying thing for Atletico Madrid fans, okay? You won La Liga last season, well done. But is this relationship, should it be done now by the end of the season, do you think, Heath Pearce? Should Cholo, for the sake of everybody, Atleti look for a new identity, Cholo Simeone go find a new club perhaps that really could use your services? What do you think? And what do you think, everybody? Should Atleti look for a new manager? Simple yes or no if you want. What do you think, Heath?
Yeah, it's just, there's something about his style of play that I find it hard to think that next year or the year after, you're going to build sustainability on it without having a whole new rebuild of a team. And I think the game is shifting and it's evolving and it's growing. And I think he's just a step off of his style being able to, successfully do that into the future. Again, reigning champions, it's tough to say, okay, look, last year it worked, this year now the project is over. I think that's a little bit harsh. And so I'm kind of confused I'm kind of confused in that sense. But I do think if ever is a time, this is the one where it kind of just looks, the thoughts look fatigued, they look tired, and it's time for something new. I mean, I don't see how after this season you don't have the ability to kind of amicably make a change to the future.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, I think Dan mentioned about Sevilla that, the reason they turned down Diego Carlos was because they really think they have a legitimate shot at the title, and that they do. But drawing this weekend does not help. Though, there is a legitimate chance. So the table up top, the top 4 is shifting. Things aren't turning. And I'm wondering, I was watching a few players today from Atletico Madrid side. Oblak is a shadow of himself. We're talking about Ter Stegen and his issues. Equally, he should be criticized as well. This is a team that at the very least, when they weren't scoring goals or playing that well, they were resilient. They would kill themselves before allowing the opponent to score. A collective unity, so to speak, that Cholo sort of brought. I don't see that anymore. I don't see that. Maybe in small stages every now and again, but Atleti, if anything, they were so difficult to break down. And it seems to me, especially today from what we saw, that they're not that anymore. And I'm wondering, really, should both of them just say goodbye at the end of the summer? It's not Simeone is a fantastic manager, what he's done for this club, but does he need a new challenge now to press the reset button? It happens all the time.
It's just such a player-based system, LME, that it only takes 3 or 4 wrong players to throw a whole system off, right? We saw this with Mourinho and his teams that he's built. Cholo Simeone, the same. The mentality you have to have, the player recruiting, you have to get right so often. You have to bring them into an environment where there is still this foundation of like, this is how we play no matter what. And if you don't fit within that, you have to make those moves. And I just think that you're getting to that edge now where you don't have enough players buying into the system. And when you buy into the system and then the results don't come and you're one of the few that does, then you start to question the system itself. And it creates this perfect storm of players who didn't and the players who are buying in but not getting the results. You start to go, man, that's a recipe for disaster. And I'm wondering if that's the tipping point for his future there.
Do you think Simeone is kind of the modern day Arsene Wenger, where his philosophy has taken you to a certain extent, and now it's time to rethink, specifically because of what the modern game kind of needs?
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at the modern day Arsene Wenger, or even the modern day Sir Alex Ferguson and what he did, the hardest part is the transition, right? The hardest part now is you can continue to do what you've always done and you'll get what you always got, right? Which is potentially you think that there's still a trophy around the corner or that winning is imminent. But the hard part is now, who do you replace him with? And then how do you make yourself a challenger? And do you have 3 years or even 5 years, what we're seeing with United and others, multiple years, like an Arsenal, decades to figure it out from there? And I don't know who replaces him. And I don't know who or if he stays, how you rebuild the project. And I think that's the hard part for me, is trying to figure out where does that transition happen? We've seen it. So, I mean, I'm trying to figure out who has successfully transitioned from legendary managers at a club where the first well-known manager leaves. And that's no disrespect to previous managers, because there are legendary managers previous, but one's in the modern era where you go, wow, they put in a huge shift at this club. They made it a winning club. Now it's time for them to go because the game is evolving and we need to evolve with it. But who's next? Right. Yeah. And how do you confidently do that and transition out? And I think being close to a trophy like they were this year, being the current champions, and the opportunity to move on past that of saying, hey, hand the baton to continue the project. I think that's your chance. But if you go, like you said, 3, 4, 5 years, the Arsene Wenger style, where you just never move away from it, then it feels like you're way down in the dumps by the time you change. And then it's like a lose-lose for the next person that comes in and the players that come in. It just changes the whole vision of the club, I think.
Yeah, and it's even harder for Atleti. Welcome, everybody, your new viewers that has just jumped in. Weekend recap, Qué Golazo here with Heath Pearce. Please have a comment, a like, subscribe. We want to hear you. We want to get questions. We're talking about Atletico Madrid. I really feel, actually, you know what, and I didn't want to do this, Heath, but Jesse Marsch and Atleti could be kind of an interesting project, to be honest with you. He understands the capability of counter-attacking, but at the same time, he could bring something new, especially to the young players. Joao Felix is not a Simeone player. I'm sorry, he just isn't.
Yeah.
Des Norris, he's telling me I'm drunk. Why not? Why can't Jesse Marsch dream of Atletico Madrid? Wouldn't that be cool as hell? I would love that.
What is going on, guys? You got Jimmy saying if the U.S. beats Honduras, Jesse Marsch takes his job. You've got you trying to put Jesse Marsch into Atletico Madrid. You've got JJ talking about Jesse Marsch to Lyon if they replace.
Jess is calling me drunk.
Jesse Marsch failed at RB Leipzig. Now, he was very good at RB Salzburg, but he failed at RB Leipzig. Some of it his fault, some of it not his fault. There was a combination of things of not getting the players and injuries and all those types of things, but clearly felt like he couldn't do what he wanted to do. I love Jesse Marsch as a manager. I think it's great. And I do like your connections to the system that he's come from and how you could transition Atletico Madrid into not being so defensive, but being in that counterattacking gegenpress type of football. I think that could do really well and evolve the league in a different way to a different.
And also, by the way, Atleti fans will just wait for just the one mistake for him to make and then for him to be gone.
He's going to show up there. He's going to be speaking Spanish within 3 minutes.
That's what I want.
The local dialect, and they're going to love him for it, and they're going to at least give him a few months just on his willingness to immerse himself in the culture.
Well, it's not as big, but Cholo Simeone has done that Sir Alex Ferguson thing that whoever comes after you, like, you better be amazing. Oh wow, okay. El Niño Fernando Torres to manage. That would be kind of cool. It would be interesting. But anyway, it's something to ponder, Atleti fans, about what you think of Cholo, the great Cholo Simeone, and what he's done. But maybe it's time to really rethink who you want to be. By the way, Sevilla did drop points against Osasuna. Rakitic missed a penalty in injury time. Oh, that's going to hurt. But that's La Liga for you. So it's really interesting because now that Barca are fourth, things are getting really, really, really tricky in terms of who is going to get that Champions League. But I still think Real Madrid's going to win this whole thing. I hope that Sevilla really push it harder. But now in terms of getting those Champions League spots, because the Real Betis remain in that spot, look at that. And now Barcelona, Atleti, even Villarreal, maybe. I don't know. But it's interesting that Barcelona now, undefeated since December 4th, are now fourth, Heath, Pearce. These top four is really interesting. And Villarreal beat Real Betis today. So they really mean business.